we ought to be pointing the world to Jesus Christ in every area of life. That's something we can all fundamentally agree on, right? Even if we have internal in-house debates with one another exactly how that goes together, we all say, He's Lord, you need to listen to Him. So here's the foundation, Jesus Christ. It's important, again, to remember that there is no neutrality. Again, the unbeliever is pretending neutrality. The Christian can pretend neutrality, but it's demanding that Jesus demands on us is that we do not pretend neutrality. He says, whoever is not with me is against me. Peter says in 1 Peter 3:15, to set Christ apart as Lord in your hearts, always being ready to give an apologia. That means you start the apologetic with a commitment to Christ as Lord. Remember that as a Christian, with God as the foundation, as the source of all knowledge and truth, that as Christians, this whole entire discussion, no matter what you're in, whether it's with Mormons, whether it's with Jehovah's Witnesses, whether it's with atheists, the entire discussion is not about hodgepodge evidences and pieces. It's not piecemeal. Understand that when we have a discussion, say with an atheist, it's total. It's a total life and worldview. It's not a piece here or there. It's not the atheist saying to you, well, I believe in science, and Christians somehow being just blind faith religionists. The atheist has a total perspective. The Christian has a total perspective. It's a network of beliefs. It's a world view. And listen, everybody has a worldview, okay? Everybody has a worldview. The unbeliever has a worldview. He has a particular metaphysic or ontology. He has a view of reality, what is real. What is the nature of all of this? What is this? What does this consist of? What is it? The unbeliever has a metaphysic. The unbeliever has an epistemology, a theory of how they know what they know. The unbeliever has an ethic. Now here's the thing. You might be thinking, well, I don't even know what those words mean, so how do they have one? Here's the deal. All those fancy words are meant to describe particular parts of our experience. But listen, everybody has a worldview, whether they've thought about it or not. Sometimes your worldview is adopted and you don't consider it. Sometimes maybe you, like me, had a particular frame of reference and say you came to Christ. And then God began to change your mind and sanctify you, and you began to see the world in an entirely different way. And you went through the hard process of the mind being changed. You thought, I used to think this, but now I think that. And it was sometimes difficult. Yes? Right? Now, sometimes people go through those worldview changes. Sometimes people don't. They just adopt things and just assume it. And believe me, everybody has a worldview. I'll give you an example. If you ask the average person on the street, how did we get here? What do you think about origins? Where did we come from? The average person, maybe educated in public education, a secular schooling system, might say, oh, I know how we got here. We're descendants of highly evolved societies of bacteria. Our ancestors were fish. We're African apes, right? We got here through unguided, unpurposed evolutionary processes. That's how we got here today. It's in the fossil record, right? Like, you have ancestors in that fossil record. And somewhere down the line, my ancestors were bacteria. Origins, that's how we got here. The Big Bang, that's how it started. So that my unbeliever might adopt that. Unbeliever might say in their ethical system, have a particular ethic that they adopted from Lady Gaga. You might be thinking, well, how'd you get an ethic from Lady Gaga? How about the title of one of her records? What was it? I Was Born This Way. You know the song? Who knows the song? Who knows the song? Sinner, 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 sinner. Okay. I was born this way. Do you think Lady Gaga, when she's singing I Was Born This Way at a concert, or when everybody in that concert is roaring in praise of Lady Gaga, when they're singing I Was Born This Way, do you think they're neutral? There's no neutrality. That's an ethic. That's a sexual ethic. Listen, everything is preaching. Everyone is preaching. Television shows are preaching a worldview. Movies preaching a worldview. Music preaching a worldview. Brothers and sisters, This is the shameful thing about the Christian culture in this generation. That's sad, it breaks my heart, is that for 2,000 years, we have been the ones who have been laying our lives down for the lost, speaking boldly, risking our lives, spilling blood for the message of the cross, in love for the unbeliever, being bold, sacrificing, desiring Christ and somebody else's good over our own comfort. And yet in this generation, we have a generation of professing Christians. When we see the world going to hell, when we see the world being just drinking in darkness, as Christians, we step away from the culture. Jesus says, be salt, be light. You're the preservative that stops it from spoiling and decay. You're the light that scatters the darkness. And Christians today, we literally do the other side of what Jesus says. We cover up our lights. Why? Most of us are just excited to get off this rock. We're just looking up, waiting to be raptured or something. I don't care what your eschatology is. No matter what you think about the future, Jesus demands of you faithfulness in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. He demands it of you.